So let's talk about this. Obviously, April, there's been a tragic story of a plane crash in DC, right? A plane was taking off and it collided with a helicopter. And we're still, as of this recording, it's pretty early on. We're not really sure what exactly happened, but that's not going to stop Trump and right-wing media people from blaming DEI.
Yep.
So let's get into this.
It's such a sad story.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? 64? Was 64 people were on the American Airlines flight, and then there were 3 in the helicopter, and no survivors.
Right. No survivors, and like figure skaters were on board. It was really tragic, and I want to pull this up. So this happens. Let me remove the bishop here. Which one is she? I think she is. I don't know, actually. Let's just do it this way. This terrible thing happens. We don't know what caused it, but that's not going to stop our regime in chief, Trump, from saying some pretty wild things. So I'm going to play this clip. It's a little bit longer, maybe a minute or two. It's a minute and a half. This is Trump's response to the media within hours of this crash happening. Here's what he said was the problem.
At a much higher standard than anybody else. And there are things where you have to go by brain power, you have to go by psychological quality, and psychological quality is a very important element of it. Certainly for an air traffic controller, we want the brightest, the smartest, the sharpest. We want somebody that's psychologically superior, and that's what we're going to have.
Mr. President, you have today blamed the diversity elements, but then told us that you weren't sure that the controllers made any mistake. You then said perhaps the helicopter pilots were the ones who made the mistake.
It's all under investigation.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And
my God.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't.
Okay, let's just pause right there. Because I have common sense. What common sense leads you to believe the second a plane crash happens, it's probably, or there's a good chance, diversity, equity, and inclusion played a role in that? April, this is a real question, April, and to the audience. What common sense leads you there?
It's infuriating because they don't have empathy. They do. He doesn't have a bone of empathy. Is that? No, that doesn't make sense. I was thinking like how they always say like I don't have a racist bone in my body.
Right.
They don't have an empathetic bone in his body.
Right. No, 100%. Let's finish out what he said, and then we'll finish responding.
We want brilliant people doing this. This is a major chess game at the highest level. When you have 60 planes coming in during a short period of time, and they're all coming in different directions, and you're dealing with very high-level computer work and very complex computers.
Okay. Yeah. Really, really weird. Just a weird response. And a few things we have to note here. Okay. I want to go through a few pieces of data. First off, there is something called, I'll put it this way. There was an announcement that said the FAA provides aviation careers to people with disabilities. The only problem is that this was done under the Trump administration, Thursday, April 11, 2019. So, I mean, if there was some kind of diversity, equity, inclusion initiative, it would have been under the Trump administration that started this. Now, to be very clear to the audience, I don't think at all that DEI played a role in this crash. I'm not saying that one bit. But Trump's own logic is actually self-incriminating, right? If he's like, well, I don't know. I mean, DEI could have played a role. There's a good chance it could have played a role. Maybe played a role. Well, then, dude, what you're saying is that I helped create the problem that we're now all trying to figure out what actually happened. Like, it doesn't make any freaking sense. Does that make sense, April?
Yes, it makes sense. Also, the Associated Press, this was a headline from January 21st, so like a week ago, a little over a week ago. The headline says, Trump fires heads of TSA, Coast Guard, and guts key aviation safety advisory committee.
Yeah.
In a lot of his cuts. And I'm not saying those are related, but if the reverse had happened and Biden had done that a week before a major crash like this,
Right.
Fox News would be calling for Joe Biden's impeachment.
100%. Here's another article. The last FAA chief quit following pressure from Elon Musk. Elon Musk told the FAA. Okay, here's the tweet, friends. This is September 25th, 2024. So, news. FAA chief Mike Whitaker, hey, same last name as me, gets his facts all wrong in front of Congress, but says that SpaceX must operate at the highest level of safety, which, according to the evidence presented by SpaceX, means waiting for months on the FAA to consult on minor paperwork updates. And then Elon Musk says, because Elon Musk owns SpaceX, he needs to resign. So, like, again, and now, April, here's the difference between me and you and the right-wing media ecosystem. We want to be honest and fair. Like, we don't want to be full of propaganda. What we're not going to say is, look, guys, this is all Trump's fault. Trump got in office a week ago. I highly doubt that Trump had something to do directly with this crash. Most likely, there's probably some either miscommunication with air traffic control. Maybe the helicopter didn't see the plane. There's a lot of other reasons to think of, about why this happened. What we're not going to say is that this is Trump's fault. But you're right, April. If President Harris was the president, right? You better believe Charlie Kirk, Elon Musk, Trump, right wing. Look, this is what happens. This is the DEI. This is the DEI world that we've created. This is the DEI initiative's fault. But now that Trump's in power, it's not his fault. It's DEI from the past. It's his fault. It's DEI's fault a long time ago. Even though one of his executive orders that Trump did was to end DEI initiatives. Like, wait, are you defeating DEI or is DEI the problem? Like, which one is it, right? It is so infuriating to watch this happen in real time and then to watch people like Charlie Kirk support it. I mean, Charlie Kirk tweeted this out. I had to share it with you. Man, I'm a little out of sorts today. I know I have the tweet. Let me pull it real quick. It is, here it is. So Charlie Kirk retweets when the reporter said, "I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash." Trump says, "Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't." Charlie's quote, "Enough said." What? Charlie, this is so stupid. What do you mean? Enough said?
It is.
No, enough is not said. What are you talking about, dude?
It is wild to me how they can scream DEI for this plane crash, for the wildfires in California, for whatever. Like, they're going after DEI as the problem, as they need to bring meritocracy back, people that deserve their jobs, while every single one of Trump's picks does not have the qualifications for the job.
Right.
Like, these people, and it's DEI is such a dog whistle. Like, it's straight up, it's racism.
Yes.
It's basically, they went from attacking CRT to calling it woke to now calling it DEI.
Yep.
It's just the next thing. What they want white men in power, and they don't want to come right out and say that, though, even though they basically are. A lot of them do basically say that, but they want white men in power,
right?
And they can't just say that, so they lump it and they hide it under DEI.
That's completely correct. I mean, that's why Pete Hegseth is not qualified at all to be the Secretary of Defense. But hey, he's a white dude. He loves Trump. Good enough for us, right? Like, their definition of meritocracy is very different. And by the way, just to be really clear, because just so people understand, the rhetoric is this: DEI lowers skill sets to allow other people who aren't really qualified to do jobs based on, and usually they say like the color of their skin or something like that. That is not true. Like, so Charlie Kirk last year said that if he sees a black pilot on a plane, he feels less safe with them because of DEI initiatives. As if a black pilot does not go through the same training, the same education, the same flight hours as a white pilot does. That's ridiculous. And by the way, the FAA, when they wrote this thing Thursday, April 11, 2019, they say right here, like super clear. They say it right here, April. I have it pulled up. They say, quote, I'm going to make it big so people can see it. Let me zoom in here. Quote, "The candidates in this program will receive the same rigorous consideration in terms of aptitude, medical and security qualifications as those individuals considered for a standard public opening for air traffic controller jobs. They say it very clearly. Very freaking clearly that, like, obviously they still have to be qualified to do the job. So yes, this is absolutely the newest dog whistle. And look, the right is always inventing dog whistles to talk about, to be racist. I mean, there's no other way to say it. CRT teaches white kids that they're the oppressor. That's not true. Woke is an appropriated term from black culture going back to the civil rights era. It has been completely hijacked by white people, white evangelicals, to become this catch-all term for anything that reeks in their mind of liberalism. And now it's DEI. Right now, these initiatives are just doing so much damage. I also want to point out one more thing that is so key here. Again, data matters, right? And don't forget, in fascism, truth is subservient to power. Here's what Trump and Charlie and Vance aren't going to show you. Here's what they're not going to show you. What the data says about Trump's DEI air crash claims. This is from Axios. Air traffic controllers and airfield operations specialists by gender and race. 78% of air traffic controllers are men. 71% are white.
Yep.
I'm just saying, like, what are we talking about? It's still a white and male-dominated space. Chances are, if this was an air traffic controller's fault, if it was, okay, there's a high chance it was a white man who made the error. And what you're not going to hear is, we got a problem here, guys. Like, white men, I think that, they're kind of subpar. Maybe we're too biased towards white men because they clearly can't do the job. We're not going to hear that. It only applies when we're talking about someone who's not a white man. Either it's a woman and it's her fault, it's a black woman, it's definitely her fault, etc. It's nonsense. It is absolute nonsense. This is propaganda. And it's used in service to push racist ideas. The same kind of racism that makes you think of someone who's brown skinned and can't and speaks maybe Spanish when you think of the term immigrant. Why don't you think about someone with blue eyes and blonde hair as an immigrant? There are Canadian immigrants, there are European immigrants. No, you think about someone who's south of the border. That's intentional, friends, to make you think about people who don't look like you. It's
and racial profiling's already started with ICE raids, and then how Trump made it to where ICE can go into churches and invade churches, and then JD Vance defended that, because the Catholic Church, I think it was Catholic, came out and he was like, he was heartbroken that the Catholic Church spoke out against that. Like, what are you talking about? Church is supposed to be a sanctuary. Oh my gosh, it's just like backwards world.
Do you want me to play the clip by JD Vance that you pulled? Should I pull that one?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but
okay. Poor
I think
April's
it's just him.
Well.
I think it's him doing the same thing that Trump said, because they all say the same talking points.
Here we go. Let's see.
Something the president said that I think bears re-emphasizing, which is that when you don't have the best standards in who you're hiring, it means on the one hand you're not getting the best people in government, but on the other hand it puts stresses on the people who are already there.
Wow.
And I think.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you mean like RFK, who pushes anti-Semitic and racist pseudoscience ideas that black people don't need the same vaccine schedule as white people, or that Ashkenazi Jews, were more immune to the COVID virus because it was engineered that way? You mean like people like RFK, JD? Like, you cannot be for these people they cannot be for real, April. How are we gonna do 4 years of this? How?
I know. And I think, too, it was not DEI. I think they were short-staffed. Like the traffic controller the night of the crash. I'm pretty sure I read that.
Well, look, April, you can't have it both ways. You can't fight for cutting government spending and government bloat, and you want to get rid of all these federal employees, and then cry foul when you don't have enough people to do the freaking job that needs to be done. Like, we're going to be here for 4 stinking years saying this till I'm blue in the face. These people are intentionally walking contradictions. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to see more of our content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you want to support the work that we do, you can donate at the link below. We are a 501c3 nonprofit and make all of this content completely paywall-free. Thanks so much.